This program is brought to you by the Forbes-featured Freedom Hub Health Plan, the alternative to overpriced and restrictive insurance. The Freedom Hub Health Plan is exactly what you need. By Frequency Medicine Associates, supporting health professionals and laypersons with safe and effective advanced telemedicine-like technology that can scan and help rebalance the root causes of stress and illness. By the Planet Lockdown film, which can be seen on the Freedom Hub's Rumble channel along with many great speakers. And by The Pavilion, a 21st century community hub that brings together many of the disruptive innovations featured by the Freedom Hub, including direct pay healthcare, farm-to-table dining, TED-like Freedom Hub talks, and more. Visit your-mp.com/pavilion solution for details. Welcome. It is Thursday, September 29th. Welcome to the Freedom Hub podcast. We have a great show. Let me start. For those of you who are new or watching, want to find out where our website is, who we have upcoming, how to subscribe, etc. I'll do my quick screen share here. Go to your-mp.com and click on, it's your marketplace for health, wealth, and freedom. Click on the home page, home tab, and then to webinars, and it will take you to what's coming up, who we've had. You can subscribe right here, both sides. Actually, if you do both, you'll get Wednesday and Thursday's podcast. Wednesday is Health, Biz, and Politics. And then down at the bottom, you'll also see our channels where these get posted. So if you miss something, you can always go to our BitChute or Brighteon, or I'd say skip YouTube these days because of censorship. We get bumped off that a lot. So, and Rumble is really good. So, and also please look around the Founders Marketplace. That's us right now. This is a volunteer effort. So we appreciate your support, our partners as well. And I think with that, I will turn it over to you, Charlie, to introduce our guest on the show.
Thanks, Jim. So Don is someone from my government-related past, when after leaving Capitol Hill, I became the lobbyist for the mortgage brokers in 1996, I believe. And Don, I think, had just left them for the mortgage bankers, yet I think he still was a mortgage broker, but he was getting successful so fast and attaining influence that the mortgage bankers like to have him around. And, you know, we separated for a lot of years in different directions, but I hear his origination business went national. He did so well at that. So it doesn't surprise me that he's doing really well in his new venture, helping all the online sellers and gig workers who want to figure out how to make money using the Amazon platform, which apparently is the way most people are selling their goods and services. And, you know, Jim and I thought this would be a good topic for Freedom Hub because, you know, we're a home of disruptors and innovators, mainly in the health cartel. But as we see on this Thursday webinar, it's much broader, this Thursday one every week. We have a lot of people that push the envelope with their rabbit holes on every kind of liberty issue, every kind of way that the cronies capture the regulatory process and keep out entrepreneurs. So we're very keen on opening the market in all fields of entrepreneurship. And we've had a lot of small business guidance over the years. And since I know Don and kind of curious what he does, you know, this is relevant. And I looked up the stats, you know, gig work, you know, this small business work, side hustles has doubled since 2018. And another stat is within 5 years, most people will be selling something online. And I can't see how the recession, which breaks up businesses, or the coming, you know, global elite schemes around climate lockdowns and whatever else they have in store with the chaos they love to create, that's not going to ruin businesses and make people innovate to figure out how to pay their bills. And people in general just are, I think, on the path to find work that better meets what they think they're here for. so he wanted to diversify. Donna's diversified. Before this, he was into theatrical production, financing. So he gets it, being diversified. I think as people bootstrap their businesses, they're going to be seeking loans to grow, and that's Don's specialty. And the way he characterized it is very appealing, because no one wants to get in hock to some loan shark and have to repay the bills or get your legs broken. Well, that's not Don's business model. He doesn't want his money back. I think he just wants a share in the profits, which seems logical. If he's going to provide the means to grow your effort, he should share. And I'm sure he has good advice too for folks who receive the money on how to get their work done. So Don, with that, why don't you take it away, and we'll come back for Q&A.
All right. Well, that was great. I don't think I have much more to say. Only kidding, Charlie. But what I am going to talk about today is, I think, going to be very interesting to everybody, whether you're in the e-commerce industry or not, because what we've created will be applied to many other industries, and certainly the gig worker industries. And you'll see what I mean as I go through this. So I'm going to do a short presentation, and then we'll go right into Q&A. Let me get there, and here we go. You can see everything, right?
Okay. Yep.
All right. So the name of my company is AccrueMe, and you'll understand the name, the accrual part of the name shortly. We also have a sister company called Algo-Retail. And Algo provides training to Amazon sellers, and also Mercado Libre and Walmart and others. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about both, but this, I think, is all about outside the box thinking. So let's just dig in. Charlie talked a little bit about my background. I've done a lot of different things, kind of crazy. If anybody wants to connect with me on LinkedIn, it's my full name, Donald Henig, Henig. But yeah, as Charlie said, I built a mortgage company and sold it. I built a mortgage broker franchise to 760 units nationwide, sold that. Built a publishing company, a soccer newspaper. At the time, there was no digital at the time, sold that. Started an entertainment company, did 8 feature-length films with the biggest name stars like Tom Cruise and Natalie Portman and Mark Ruffalo. And we also created and produced the Broadway show Rock of Ages, which ended up as the 30th longest running play of all time. So anyway, did a whole bunch of different things in different industries. I'm never, concerned about entering a new industry, because I always feel you just start and then you just keep taking steps in whatever you're doing, and you learn it pretty quickly. So now and I've also built franchises, and now I'm jumping into e-commerce, and I started about 3.5 years ago. In my career, I've financed over a couple $100 billion in loans, mainly mortgages. I took a period of time off. I bought and sold houses, 300 houses over 18 months, every one of them for a profit, which was fun. Anyway, I ended up retiring, and I came out of retirement for this opportunity because I love helping people grow businesses and mentoring younger people. And when I learned that there were over 2 million Amazon sellers, and that when I buy stuff on Amazon, it's not normally coming from Amazon, it's coming from a seller who deposited it at Amazon, and then Amazon sells it and ships it. It's an interesting business model, an easy one to get involved in. So I was just excited about that. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about the problems that we've solved. We're going to talk about, doing things a little differently, not the way it's always been done. And I think hopefully I'll show you something that'll open something in your mind there. We're going to talk about, it's kind of what we built is kind of like having a rich uncle. And a lot of people bring that up to me, like, this is like having a rich uncle, and thinking outside the box and compounding your profits. That's something that people never talk about. And I don't think people think about, but I'm going to give you the concepts, and a couple of concepts in finance that I'd be pretty sure most of you, if not all of you, have never thought of, never considered. And when you learn them, they're very basic, but they're very important. So I think you're going to enjoy that. All right. So the problems People are looking for side gigs. We all know that. People are always looking for side gigs. There's lots of ways to do it. So we decided to teach them. And I'll explain to you what we did. And then in addition to that, once they learn how to sell on Amazon, they need a fair source for funding. And we found that there were none. There were, predatory type lending going on in this industry. And we didn't want anything to do with that. So we wanted to create something fair. Our very first seller used these terms. What we created at AccrueMe is eminently fair, and he went on from there. So we solved both problems. So Algo Retail, and it's algo-retail.com. What we did was we built a company to train people how to sell on Amazon profitably. There are 3 different ways to sell on Amazon: private label, retail arbitrage, and wholesale. And we selected to train on wholesale because it's the safest way to get into the game and learn the industry. And I can tell you, I'll give you one quick example of a seller that we trained. I'm sorry, we didn't train him. He's 22, just recently turned 23. This is an extreme example, but last December he came to us and he was looking for money. His net profit was $1,500, not a lot of money, right? For the month of December, the best month of the year. Well, in January, we gave him $25,000. We gave him more in February, more in March, probably more in April, I don't remember. By May, remember, in December, his profit was $1,500. By May, he worked his butt off and used a lot of money from us to build his business. His net profit jumped up to $44,000. In July, it was $56,000. By the end of this year, I'm hoping to see him somewhere in the range of $70,000 to $100,000 per month. And he's just 23 right now, putting his head down and going to work. So, that's what we're trying to teach people how to do. So we teach in English and in Spanish. So far, we've trained over 10,000 sellers that are active today, with products listed for sale today. With over 25,000 unique products being sold. On Amazon, they call it ASINs as opposed to a SKU, but over 25,000 being sold today. And we're growing that business in the US, in Latin America, and in Spain. And we have our first Latin America conference coming up in November. And it's going to be, by all reports, it should be the largest Spanish-speaking conference in this industry ever, which is fantastic. So before I get into AccrueMe, I want to just ask a couple of things. So a rhetorical question. Think about all of your businesses, and if you don't have your own business, think about any business. Can you grow faster if you leave more money in your business or take money out of your business? So think of this example. You're earning a net profit of $10,000. But every month, and that's every month, just a flat $10,000 profit every month. But every month you take $10,000 out of your business. By the end of the year, will that business be larger, smaller, or the same? And it's rhetorical. It'll be the same. It won't be able to grow. You need capital to grow. So, it's retained earnings for people in business, right? You earn money, but you leave some of it in the business so you can keep growing. So if you take the money out of your business, you can't grow. So now let's think outside the box. And here's the questions that, we considered when we put this together. And by the way, we put this model together over about a 90-minute lunch. Okay. So this is not years of research and thinking and, doing all sorts of different things. We just said, here's the problem. We don't want to do it the way everybody else has done it. Let's figure out a better way. And which really is an amazing thing when you think about it. So if we all agree that you can't grow if you're taking your profits out every month, then why would anybody growing a business take their money out to send it to a lender every month, right? Think about it. It's counterintuitive. It's not good for your business. If the lender wanted you to grow and prosper, they wouldn't want you to do this either. But when you think about it, lending's been around for 2,000 years. It was created in one way so that the lender is completely protected and the borrower is totally at risk. And everything that's done, like making monthly payments, It doesn't have to be in the borrower's, best interest. It's just good for the lender. But, it doesn't make sense for the business. So, and who's it good for? Who it's good for. It's good for the lender. And when you ask people, well, that's the way it's always been done. Yeah, well, what about changing it? So I'm going to show you a little bit here about what we ended up building. And yeah, we've always heard it's always been done like this, but we asked the question why, and thinking outside the box. And I've used the term rich uncle in previous businesses. So I said, if you went and got a loan from your rich uncle, what would the terms be that you would want? And so here's what we put together. And again, this is brand new. It's never been done before. And when I say brand new, we're in business over 3 years, and we've got plenty of clients. So so if you think about it, it's similar to a rich uncle, but your dinners won't be uncomfortable. So here's what we did in a nutshell. We'll give an Amazon seller, right now it's just Amazon, but we're going to be expanding that very shortly, the money they need to grow with no interest, no fees, no term. Think about that. Why should you have to decide, I want something for a year, 2 years, 5 years? Use it as long as you want. You use it as short as you want. We don't require monthly payments. That people say, oh, come on, that sounds crazy. Well, think about it. If in the Amazon world, in Q3 and Q4, they're all growing like rockets. Why would we want them to take money out of their business? It's counterintuitive. So we say, don't make payments unless you have the cash. So typically in Q3, Q4, nobody's going to make a payment. But by February, March, April, their businesses slow down. They're flush with cash. It makes sense to make a payment then, right? I mean, it's just obvious. It's good for them. It's good for us. We don't take any equity, so there's no loss of equity in the business. All right. So we're not lending to them. We're investing in them on a temporary basis, but we don't take equity. And all we get is a temporary share of the profits. And the way that we set up the temporary share of profits is so that the seller cannot lose. And at a very high level, this is not the details, but at a high level, the way the math works, the seller always earns 100% of the profits on their capital, plus they get 50% of the profits on our capital. Again, no fees, no interest, no term, no payments, no loss of equity. We don't take anything for the first 30 days. We wanted to give them a head start, if you will. And if they decide in 6 months they don't like it, they just pay us back. I get asked the question pretty often at trade shows. What if AccrueMe gave me $10,000 and I earn no money for 5 months? What do I owe you? $10,000. And they're blown away by this. So this is the model. This is what we put together. Pay when it's appropriate for your business, not when it's right for us. And when you talk about risk, we reversed the risk. We're taking the risk as opposed to the seller taking the risk, or the borrower, as in the common terms. All right. So this is, Charlie, I'm sure you've read this book, long ago, and many of you probably have, but The Richest Man in Babylon. It was based like 4,000 years ago. And they said to him, how did you become the richest man in Babylon? And Babylon was the epicenter of the world. And I think the guy's name was Ankar, from what I remember. And he said, I earned gold, and then I helped my gold earn gold. So he's talking about compounding profits. Einstein talked about compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. Some people say he didn't say it. Some people say he did. But, it makes sense. Compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. It is an amazing thing when you see compounding at work. It doesn't happen in a day or a week, but over time, it goes crazy. So compounding profits is something every business should think about. But how do you do it? And, that's exactly what we do. By not taking monthly payments, the seller is able to take our money and our model and combine it with their hard work and their knowledge of the industry to keep growing their profits so rapidly that nothing else could do this. And you're talking about the young man that, went from $1,500 in profits to $56,000 in a matter of 6-7 months. It's mind-blowing to get that kind of growth, and it's impossible for him to have done it without the model we put together. All right. Here's a couple key concepts that I think you're going to find interesting. They're very quick and very simple. But did you ever think about it from a business loan standpoint? Every time you're making a monthly payment, you're losing profit. So think about this simple calculation. You take your monthly profit times your monthly ROI, and that equals your lost profit. And the thing that might shock people listening to this, in the Amazon world, in the e-commerce world, a pretty normal monthly ROI is 10%. All right. So it's, if you had 10% in an industry, for the year, you'd be pretty happy. 10% per month. So let's look at an example. Let's say your monthly payment is $12,000. Your ROI is 10%. That means if you had that $12,000, you would be making another $1,200 per month. So you just lost $1,200 for that month and for every month afterwards, because you lost that $12,000. And the next month, you make another payment, you're losing $2,400 a month in profit every month going forward, then 36 and so forth. It's a crazy thing. So from a business lending standpoint, if you can keep your payments as low as possible, interest only, longer terms, things like that, it's in your best interest. And here's one last key concept, and this is universal, and it's something, again, people, you'll understand with this next graph. With a loan, the capital that is invested in your business, your growth, declines every month. So if you think about it, you're taking money out to send to the lender, right? So every month, it's like a stair step going down. Every month, you have less and less and less money to grow your business. With success-based, and that's what we call AccrueMe, there's more money in the business to grow every month because we're not taking anything out. And typically that gives the seller a good incentive not to take money out as well. So this is just a quick chart. You can see the bottom line is a traditional loan. This is the way it works. Every month there's money coming out of your business. Every month there's less money to grow your business. With us, we leave the money in the business. Then the profits happen. They stay in the business. Then you're compounding the profits. So the profits are growing faster than they ever could have in any other situation. It's just the way the numbers work. All right, so real quick summary. AccrueMe, it's all about growth. We're all about growth. No interest, no fees, no term. Again, it doesn't make sense. No monthly payments. You pay when it's right for you. No loss of equity, no personal guarantee. And we just get a temporary share of profits. And we can get into the details. If you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, it's Donald Henig. If you want to check out Algo Retail, it's algo-retail.com. And I don't know what the training course costs, but it's not much. I can say that. And then AccrueMe.com. If you want to check us out at all, feel free. And now we're going to come out of this, and I'll stop sharing and see if there are any questions, and we'll go from there. That's what we put together.
Don, that's fantastic. I have some questions, and anyone else, if you want to click the raise hand icon, it should be around your Zoom control somewhere, like reactions or something. Or you can just raise your hand in video if you can't do that. Let me start with Richest Man in Babylon. These classic works are so important for folks to read, to learn about business, how to grow get on their path. Do you happen to ever recommend other books or experts when people talk about, who's the person or what's the book to read?
I'm going to tell you a book that I think everybody should read. It's an easy one. It's also an audio book. I can tell you that everybody in my family, my kids, have read it multiple times. So, and when I say multiple, like 3 or 4 times, and it's The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. Darren was the owner and the head of Success Magazine, which I think was started. Oh boy, The Power of Positive Thinking. Who was that?
Napoleon
Retail.
Hill or
No,
Sunstone?
Nope. Peel. What was his name?
Don't know
We-
that the author.
You'd know it in a minute if I said it. Anyway, the compound effect, it's not just great for business, it's great for your life as well. And there are some good examples in there. Like, if you take two people that are best friends, they both are men, weighing the same height, the whole bit, and one decides to have an extra cup of ice cream every month, every night. And the other one decides to cut back on carbs a little bit, just a little bit. Like he's not going to have that extra cup of ice cream. A month from now, you won't see a difference. 3 months or 6 months from now, one's going to be, 4 pounds heavier and one's going to be 4 pounds lighter. So an 8-pound difference right there. And it's a minor change, right? But it's that improvement done consistently over a long period of time. And that's really about compounding your profits or compounding your interest. It's the same thing with compounding your life, doing the morning routine that I do, consistently for years and years, things like that. Going to the gym consistently, even when you don't want to. And when you get up and you want to do, you plan to do a workout, and you don't feel like doing it, give yourself such a small goal that you can't say no. So I'll give you an example. I won't go into the whole details, but give yourself a goal of do 5 push-ups. 5 push-ups, no big deal. You can't say no to that. It's not, you're not going to break out into a sweat, and you can just go do them right now and it'll be, nothing. Well, I guarantee you that if you get down to do 5, you're probably going to do 20, and you're probably going to do a second set, and you're going to feel much better about yourself. And the next day, you'll realize that there's no excuse. You can do those 5, but you're going to always most likely do more. You could be sick as a dog. You could still do 5. So it's doing that little positive thing consistently over a long period of time is a game changer for business and for life.
No argument here. I have a morning yoga routine myself. I've done for decades, and if I don't do it, it's really sabotaging my day.
It definitely does. But it could be anything. It doesn't have to be health, working out. It could be diet. It could be, I'm going to have one less drink. I'm going to have, one less cigarette, whatever it might be. Whatever it is, or I'm going to get up a half hour earlier, whatever it might be. I'll give you one thing I used to say to people, years ago, I would hear from salespeople, I just don't have enough time to do what you're expecting me to do. I'd say to them, what if I were able magically to give you an extra month? So everybody in the world has 12 months and you have 13. Could you do more? Just hypothetically, of course. Yes, of course I could do more. Well, do the math. Get up 1 hour early, 5 days a week. All right. I'm not talking 7 days. I'm just talking 5 days, work days. And if you add up those hours, it came out to something like, I don't remember the numbers, but like 250 hours over a year, including 2 weeks off. You're not getting up early, things like that. And it comes out to an extra 31 days, 8-hour days. There you go. It's a simple answer, a simple solution to your problem. You don't have enough time to get everything done. Create another month.
Brilliant. Jim, feel free to chime in on books, experts, or daily habits. I'll just go on with questions.
Well, I will chime in for a second. Yeah. I think I didn't take the course, Don, but I did actually with my wife. There was one of these area Amazon sellers conferences, like it was a training, not a whole session, but I got you got your feet wet. I think it was a promotion. So we spent a couple of hours there learning about things you're talking about. Maybe it was your group. I don't remember.
Probably not.
A couple of years ago. Very interesting, but I understand what you're saying. We saw the opportunity there, but you're right. Well, as you said with this young man, you do need to apply yourself.
Oh, big time.
like anything else, like getting up an hour earlier. Yeah, yeah.
Right. Well,
So-
when I asked the young guy, what are you doing that's making this all possible? Because you have, pretty much extreme growth going on. And we have plenty of sellers that have extreme growth, but his was really extreme. And he said to me, I followed your advice. I said, what advice did I give you? I don't know. And he said, you told me a couple of things. You told me, he lives in Vegas. He said, you told me to stop, because prior to coming to us, he had a little problem with his business where it was going down and he was ready to give up and walk away. And I talked him out of doing that. And I told him to get rid of all the fancy stuff, get rid of the ego crap. Get rid of the fancy car, the fancy house, all that stuff. He was, 21, 22 at the time. And I said, and focus on your business. If you want to grow and you want to make $1 million, you've got to be completely headstrong and focused. And here's the picture I like to use, and I think everybody will get it. You want to grow your business like a man whose hair is on fire searching for a pond. Think about that. Nothing is going to get in the way of a guy whose hair is on fire from finding water to put his head in that water, right? So go after growth or anything you want to get like a man whose hair is on fire searching for a pond. So he said to me, I followed your advice. He remembered the quote and the example because it's a good visual. And he said, I sold the fancy car. I sold his apartment or house. I don't know if he sold it or got out of it. And he said, my girlfriend and I live in our warehouse. I traded my car in. I have a van so I can go and buy, goods and stuff and put them on Amazon. He goes, everything is focused on this business and I want to make $1 million. And he's on his way, very much on his way.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
So question related to that, what about people that, and I think there are a lot of people out there now really doing more soul searching, like I'm meeting lawyers that left law,
Yeah.
people, and you're probably actors too, right? But that, so they need to get income coming in, but they're not, well, I won't say they're not necessarily, enthralled about, let's say, a gig work or Amazon sales. But is there any advice you might have to those people? Maybe, pick something you kind of like, or you can do this 3 days a week and then focus on what you're passionate about the other 2 days, or what do you think about some of those things?
I think once people start making money, they become passionate about it. Yeah, truthfully, you don't have to do so much soul searching like, oh, I want to do this one thing. It's going to be beautiful. Just go out and do something. Whatever it is, find something that you don't hate, you don't want to do that, and go after it. And the thing that I'd say to people is take a step, just take a step. There's a couple of things with business. Here's a saying that I've used in my whole career about starting businesses. And really it's about starting anything. Start stupid. You're never going to know enough. You'll never know it all. And if you knew it all, everything that you know today, if you knew that you had to know all of that back in the beginning, you wouldn't do it. It's too much. It's overwhelming. So just start. And combined with that, with starting stupid is something called the corridor effect. Okay, so think about it. This is the way you're starting a business. You're opening this door and you're looking down this long hallway and it's dark. You don't know what's 3 feet in. So what do? You could either run away and hide, right? Or go back to what you were doing. Or you could take that step down that hallway. And then you take another step. And each step you're learning things. And that third step, there's a little board there that you would have tripped over. You couldn't see it at the beginning. It's an obstacle. And you stepped over it. So you learn something more. And further down that hallway, you're seeing some windows and some doors. So there are opportunities that you never would have seen unless you went down this path. You don't know what's there. So now go down that path. And anytime you're starting a business, you want to be flexible to be able to go one way and the other way, or go straight. But like, even when we started AccrueMe, I said to my partners, I can guarantee you one thing. What we think is going to be the end result will not be the end result. What we picture and have written out as our business plan is going to change tomorrow, because whatever you think your business is going to be, it will change. So just realize that, accept that change, look at those doors and windows of opportunities down your business, down the way, and just keep learning and learning and learning, meaning taking those steps one after another. And then you
Right.
get, all of a sudden you'll be looking back saying, oh my God, I'm like a superstar in this industry, whatever industry it is.
And I suppose to answer my own question or to add to that, like yoga, for example, and Charlie's a yogi, maybe you start, okay, well, I like that area. I can sell yoga clothing, right? Or something related to that. I kind of.
So stay with it. You know, I mentioned publishing earlier in my background. So I had sold 2 businesses and I took some time off. Like, what am I going to do now? I don't have a business. I don't, what am I going to do with my days? So I just started researching things and looking at things. I wasn't looking for something to do necessarily. I was looking just to, you know, take a break. And my kids were young. I said to myself, what do I enjoy? I love being out in the fields with them. Let me look at this soccer industry, and I start doing research, and I realized that there are soccer publications around the country. There are some soccer websites which were, you know, pretty good. I figured out how much money they were making, which was a lot of money, and so I started a soccer newspaper. Never did it, no idea how to do it. So I went to a friend of mine who is like a designer of newspapers and things, puts them together, whatever you call it. And so I started a soccer newspaper, and I went out the first month and I got, you know, articles from people and pictures. I wrote some articles. I called coaches that I could find and got stories about games. I went to everybody that I could think of that would advertise in a newspaper like that. Got them to advertise, probably gave them the first month or 2 for free, I don't remember, or half price. And before you know it, I had in 6 months, we're full, it was before digital, so a full newspaper, right? 32 pages, 50% of it was advertising, 176,000 copies per month, the official newspaper for New York State Soccer. And I was the only employee. That was it. And I sold it to my partners, who were silent partners that really wanted to take it over. And, you know, I didn't like some things that they had done, so I just sold it to them and walked away. I'm a firm believer in just working with people that I can trust. You know, I don't like contracts necessarily. So that's, you know, I didn't know anything about it, but it's something that, like you're saying with Charlie, with being, you know, into yoga, there's 100, you know, businesses tied to yoga. I know a woman last year came to us for financing. She sells on Amazon. Her business, her revenue was between 15 and $18 million a year. And what is she selling? Her own brand of yoga mats, scented candles, you know, the blocks for yoga, all different things, one thing after another. Nothing very elaborate, but her business, you know, is worth many millions of dollars. And yeah, she just went down the path that she enjoyed. Interesting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You were political a bit, I would guess, Don, back in the mortgage organizing days in the mid 90s. Yep. My next question, you know, you give a slam on lending, which is important because I think politically we're awash in debt. I think Bill Clinton, when he got elected in 92, stated, you mean we're limited by the bond traders? You know, his comment that there's limits on what government can do based on the bond market, the power of the lenders, you know, what we call the banksters. You're not political now, Don. You're helping people reach their dreams, but you know, everyone's a little political. And so, do you have a political comment out of your new way of financing that dispenses with the lenders and maybe we should politically care more about getting ourselves in hock. So much debt. What do you think? Any comment
Well,
there?
I think there's a bunch of things there. You have the banks and you also have the Federal Reserve and our government overall. Two different things in my mind. But, from my standpoint with lending and banking, I think long-term, people will see what we're doing. And when we start applying it to other industries, it will take off like wildfire. And the people on Wall Street have come to us and, they had plenty of questions about what we're doing, but they've all said the same thing. We're thinking about the next industry. And, it could be, as crazy as this sounds, but used car sales, because they use the same technology and it's very, very easy to monitor it. So with ours on Amazon, we're able to see every single sale that happens. We know, the moment you sell this pen on Amazon, we know that you sold the pen and for how much and what your profit is. So when we have the technology involved in an industry, we could apply this model to any industry. And so they keep coming up with other industries that this could be easily applied to. And I think you'll see that because it's fair. It's not about putting everything on the borrower. It's about taking some responsibility ourselves to do the right thing and to work together, to grow. When we started AccrueMe, the very first day that we got together, we put a little team together, and I opened it up with, here's what we're planning on doing. And I just want to make one comment that if you ever come to me with an idea and you say, hey, Don, we can make more money out of AccrueMe if we do this, whatever this is. I said, I don't want to hear it. You have to come to me and say, our sellers will make more money if we do this. Then that's what we're going to implement. Because if our sellers make more money, then we make more money. Let's keep our focus on helping them grow and make money. And, we don't have to think about ourselves. So, and Charlie, who knows how long our government will be able to last with the debt buildup that we've gone through for the last, 50 years, but we'll find out at some point in time, maybe sooner than later, who knows?
Yeah, that crash worry that the Peter Schiffs of the world talk about is, of course, scary, but you can't time those things. So
no, you can't, and you never know when it's going to happen. And it'll probably happen just because it's happened to every society ever. But whether it happens in 2 years or 200 years, none of us know. And typically, when you're faced with ridiculous problems, good things come out of that. Adjustments happen, and when we look at the future, we think of it all being static, like everything's going to happen just the way it is today, and it's going to be going like this. Well, at some point in time, a Ross Perot is going to become president, and the debt buildup will turn right around, and it'll be painful. But we don't know what's going to happen. So.
Yeah, and Jim, interrupt if you want. I have questions still, and I don't have a watch. I have no idea what time it is. So bad partners. So you mentioned the person that's not going to do much with your money. They're not. We had a great presentation yesterday on the value of yoga retreats. The idea like Mark Benioff came up with Salesforce on a yoga retreat. We mentioned the morning habits to have a good day and not sabotage yourself. But and in that talk, there was a Zen koan that, and on this path to enlightenment, you have to chop wood and carry water. That is work. So some of your recipients of uncle's money and advice, just for some reason, they're not following through, and you're going to need your money back. Has that ever gone south, getting the money back, or being the compassionate uncle, holding their hand, extending their time, month after month, year after year? What divides the people that just aren't going to accept the help and help themselves versus those that, okay, finally, they're going to do something? Do you have that kind of issue?
We do, and luckily it's very few in comparison. But we have one seller, and we're in the process of pulling our money out. because they went 5 months in a row, literally 5 months, they didn't make any money. And we're telling them, we're looking at your business, you're overspending on this, you're not getting enough inventory, you're going to go down the tube here if you don't change. And they would always yes us to death, but not make the changes that they need. So finally, we had to come to them and say, hey, guys, this is not working. We're going to take our money out, but we don't want to hurt you. So what we're going to do is we're going to do it over 3 months. And we've done that pretty much in every case. And they're blown away by that. They're like, really? You're not just going to cut our throats and take the money? No, we're going to do it over 3 months. We're not here to hurt you. We wish you the best, but we're not a good fit. We've only had 2 losses, which is pretty amazing. It's kind of mind blowing. And our 2 losses, the first one happened, it was on purpose. The seller, literally, we didn't have any technology built then. All right. So we have our own system that we built, and we had nothing at that point. So we couldn't spot certain things that we would spot easily today. And he wouldn't have been able to do that today. But the guy was taking the inventory that we gave him money for, and he opened up a second account and a third account, and he was moving the inventory from our Amazon account together to other accounts that he was making money on. So he was taking our money, he was keeping 100% of the profits, moving all the assets out of the company, and then he, told us to go to hell. And like, wait, where's our money? And we couldn't even track it at that point. So we actually have a lawsuit against him that we won. He was trying to file bankruptcy, and the lawyers in his hometown said, this is the 3rd time that he's done this. This guy's a con man. And so we took a hit with him, but we think we're still going to get our money out of it. And only one other loss, and it was a young guy from Turkey, of all places. And Amazon suspended his account. And instead of working with us, and we're offering to help him get his account, reinstated, he just got upset. And he goes, I can't do this anymore. It was too much anxiety. And he walked away from the business. And so now we can't reach him. He's in Turkey. His account is at Amazon. And we're working with Amazon to try to get our money back, but not an easy thing. So at some point, but yeah, besides that, normally most sellers, when they're not making money, they want to hear, an expert, and we have the experts on our team looking at their account and give them advice on what they need to do. Pretty much everybody.
My brother was friends with a Turkish guy when he was in LA, who was the son of a Turkish general. So if you need any help behind the scenes.
Well, actually, Don, my wife is Turkish, so.
Did you negotiate with her?
Yeah. No. Yeah. She's good at that. Absolutely.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
No, this is the deal.
Deal.
It's unbelievable. But that's part of their culture. It's nothing to get, crazed over.
So what you just said implies to me that you don't take any comer. They have to have some basic financials in order to justify your rich uncle's help.
So you know what? We kept that pretty minimum as well. They need to be selling on Amazon for 6 months, minimum of 6 months, profitably. Right now, our minimum deal is we'll give them up to, minimum of $10,000, but we're going to be raising that to $25,000 just because too many. And really that's it. We don't look at their financials. We don't look at their credit report. We look at the inventory, and we built a system to take a look at their inventory and analyze how fast it will sell and how much profit it will make. And it's unique. Nobody in the industry does what we do. And we do it in seconds. And we do it on every single ASIN or SKU that they have. And so there are some that are not good, and we'll exclude those. So if they sell, they get 100% of the profit. But we're not going to give them money against that. And the decent ones, they get money against.
So what about those pre-6 months, not as much inventory and not as much sales, but they have some promise, but their promise probably won't fit your criteria for entry consideration. Where do those folks go to get help?
I hear from them pretty often from around the world, and I normally through LinkedIn. and they're pretty much, I'll get a note, begging for help, basically. I always get on the phone with them or, email with them, whatever, and try to give them advice as much as I can about going to family and friends. You can use our model and apply it to your family and friends. Do a Kickstarter, to raise money, to kickstart your first product. You can pre-sell those units and raise money. And I'll send them a video of somebody who did that and raised over $1 million for his first product. Before he did anything, $1 million to get going. You pre-sell $1 million worth of product, you're starting really, really, really well, and your rankings on Amazon will go through the roof. So, there are courses out there to learn how to do that. Just Google how to raise capital for a startup. You're going to probably find, 100 different things. So, I always try to coach them if I can and help them because, whatever, I care. And it's going to be nothing for us. We're not going to get anything out of it. But if I can help them grow, God bless them.
What else are you working on right now, Don? You must have like other pet projects or things you're thinking about, I'm guessing.
I'm always thinking about things, but nothing in particular right now that I'd care to share because too early in the game. I still have lots of research, but I'm looking forward to getting back to retirement at some point in time. I miss being on the boat all the time and traveling all over the place with my wife and just becoming decent at golf again, which I'm terrible at now. I was good before I started this business. And so I'm looking forward to getting back to all of that.
Where is the boat?
I live on Long Island. So we're on
okay.
the south shore of Long Island. So the Atlantic Ocean, what we have is called the Great South Bay. So you can drive everywhere. We can go over to the beach, beautiful marinas, a government preserve, a federal preserve. We dock the boat there. You have everything you need as far as electric and water and food and all that stuff, and walk maybe 100 yards over a dune onto the beach, which is no houses, no cars, almost no people because you can only get there by boat. You can walk 7 miles on this beautiful beach and not see another person. And it is just absolutely magnificent. It's gorgeous. So that's
near New York.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm an hour outside the city. I live on a little lake that flows down at the end of the block into the ocean. So yeah, if I wanted to get to a white sandy beach, it's a 5-minute drive for me. So that's the life. When you live where we live, that's the life that you live. A lot of time at the beach and on the water. It's fun.
Charlie,
near Hofstra?
Is it near Hofstra?
Yeah.
About 30 minutes east of Hofstra.
We just tied them in soccer at William and Mary.
Ah, well, there you go.
0-0.
Yeah.
Charlie, we got about 3 or 4 minutes to the hour here.
Okay.
Any final, yeah.
The celebrities that you worked with in theatrical production, Don, do you ever do they ever like inquire with you about endorsements of products? Because that's how they make side money, and that's how sellers grow their business, right? Celebrities.
It's one of the ways. So no, none of them have ever come back to me looking for endorsements and things like that. But as far as sellers go, is a big industry, and there are lists and companies out there that work on this of influencers. So if I'm selling whatever it might be, a bottle of something, I can hire an influencer who, by just sending them this product and getting them to use it, and if they like it, they're going to be talking about it. Literally micro influencers, where you don't have to send them money. You're just sending them product. And then you have some that are a little bit better and have a bigger reach, that maybe you send them the product and then you give them, a certain percentage of whatever you sell from their link. And then the big ones, you have much bigger cost and involved in those. But those are risky. You can get started with micro influencers. Many of them pretty much at the same time for no cost or almost no cost, which is interesting. But just last thing, because you mentioned, the actors and such, and I'll say one thing. Tom Cruise, people always ask me about Tom Cruise, and I will tell you that he was fantastic. Number one, unbelievable as far as work ethic, better than anybody I've ever seen. And I can tell you stories on that. But he also, what impressed me most about him was walking onto the set, full get up, the whole bit, walking onto the set. He wasn't making a beeline to the director and the producers and all of that. He was going over to the people serving food, the lighting people, all the people working there. And he went over and made sure he talked to them, signed autographs if they wanted, gave them little motivational speeches, things like that. He cared about the normal people as opposed to the money people. And I was really impressed with everything I saw by him, which surprises some people. As far as the Scientology, he asked to have a tent that people could come and talk to him about Scientology if they wanted, but that was the only thing that he did. He didn't push it on anybody or anything. A complete gentleman. So
I think, Jim, we should talk about these free micro influencers for the sponsor of our show, the Sharing Health Savings Account combo.
that's a good idea.
So we're out of time. Don, we always invite folks to give us our last word. What's the takeaway, and how do folks reach you?
I think the best way is on LinkedIn. And again, I respond, so don't feel like you're bothering anybody. And it's my full name, Donald Henig. And as far as a takeaway, I would say, whoever you are, if you're going to go down a path, take a step. We all know the old saying of a journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. It's the truth. Same thing with business. Same thing with starting a company. Get rid of the fear. Just take the next step, and then take the next step. And you're going to be getting out of your comfort zone on each step. Just take the step. You don't have to dive in. Just keep going, and you'll get there.